Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday night here in the UK, and a happy Saturday to you wherever you are. It is time for the VRL F2 Round 9 here in the United States Grand Prix here in Austin, Texas. And joining with me just now on commentary is my co-commentator, VRL F1 driver, and also in the championship hunt for that one, it's Moraine. Moraine, how are you this evening?
Hello.
So how are you doing, mate? You all good? Staying safe and healthy?
Yeah, of course. In this weird situation, give us an opportunity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've had so much of it all over the place, but of course, the best place, in my opinion, and I'm sure in many others as well, will be to watch some Vision League racing. Obviously, we've got two championships, both in the F1 and F2 divisions, that need sorting out. And of course, as you are familiar with the F1 championship yourself, being in that fight, we've got a F2 championship to sort out, which can be won today. Now, first of all, for those of you who have not been keeping an eye on the VRL news in the last 2 weeks since we had our last race in Japan, you will have noticed that our championship leader, Ice-T, who was originally going to join VRL F1 for the remainder of the season, is allowed to compete in just one more race at the VRL US Grand Prix for F2, and there's a big opportunity for him because he has a huge chance to win the championship today. Moraine, what do you hear about that news?
Yeah,
So,
of course, he needs to outscore Fletcher by, I thought it was 8 points, right?
yeah, that's right. So, I mean, I've made a list of the permutations for this championship proceeding. So, with that in mind, if you bear with me, guys, just to spend a few minutes while we wait for the qualifying session to begin, just to quickly explain what needs to happen in order for Ice-T to be crowned VRL F2 champion today. Let's go through. Let me know, obviously, where you are watching around the world. In the chat section we have that, so say hi, and let me know if you're excited as I am to see how this one unfolds. So here's the championship permutation. So for Ice-T to win the championship today, first and foremost, if he wins and gets the fastest lap of the race, he's got the title. Doesn't matter what anyone else does. If Ice-T wins this race with the bonus point for fastest lap, he will be crowned VRL F2 champion. Now, of course, if he does win this race without the fastest lap, there is the chance for Fletcher to stay in this championship hunt, but he would have to get second with the fastest lap. If Ice-T comes second with the fastest lap, then Fletcher has to finish no less than fourth. However, if Ice-T does not get fastest lap and comes second, then Fletcher can still stay in the hunt with fifth, but would need the fastest lap. It gets a little bit more complicated further down the order. If Ice-T finishes third with the fastest lap, Fletcher has to finish fifth or sixth with the fastest lap, and Sean Larry and Magic Alonso will be back in the championship hunt if Ice-T finishes third but does not get the fastest lap, but they would have to win with the fastest lap. Now, of course, there's a few other permutations further down the order which are quite complicated to explain, but the long story short for some of the outsiders in this championship hunt is as follows. Magic Alonso has to make sure he outscores Ice-T by 11 points today. Sean Larry, the same situation for him. Burkeye, on the other hand, still is in this championship hunt, but is a bit further down. He has to outscore Ice-T by 16 points today. Papine, it is still possible for Papine to win this championship. However, there's Leicester winning the Premier League, there's Brawn winning on their fairy tale debut season, and then this is a whole nother level. I'd say you'd probably have more chance winning the lottery for the next every week for the next year than Papine winning the championship. However, he's still in the hunt, but he has to outscore Ice-T by at least 22 points today. So the task for him is simple. He has to win. And Moraine, obviously you're in a bit of a championship battle yourself. What would be going through your mind if you were in Ice-T's position? What do you think Ice-T is going to be thinking? Is he going to try to win this race today? and remove all doubt, or is he only interested in making sure he scores a large enough amount of points to make sure that the others can't catch him as the season closes? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's tricky, but I'm not sure if IC is gonna race 3 more races, because it's not quite sure yet if he is going into F1. I thought, but yeah, of course it's very tricky. But if I were him, I would just make sure I wouldn't take any risks and just stay out of trouble and get a good result.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a weird situation to be in, and now as the clock ticks down, we're just about to get ready for qualifying. But Ice-T, as I said, today, unlike in Japan, it is in his own hand. He does have the power to remove all doubt from this opening championship, and in fairness, I would say since the start of the season, I can't think of a driver that's deserved this title more. He's always been finishing at the top end of the order. He's consistently on the podium. He's had his misfortunes as the season's gone on. It's been a bit harder for him with obviously the influx of other drivers like Fletcher and Sean Larry in particular. But overall, Moraine, I would say if Ice-T was to win the championship today, would it be well deserved in your opinion? Moraine, you still with me? Okay, so it looks like a few little technical difficulties, guys. I'm not sure what's happened to Moraine. Hopefully we can get him back pretty soon. So I do apologise for that. Hopefully you can get him back soon.
Oh, alright, I'm back.
Oh, sorry. So I was just gonna... So we're just ready for qualifying now. So just change the settings. So I was just asking the question, given how the season has gone so far, would you say if Ice-T was to be crowned champion today, would you say that that's well deserved for this season?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he has been a consistent scorer. He's always right near the top 5, so yeah, in my opinion, that is a deserved position he's in. And, yeah, we'll find out if he can finish it off today, soon. But yeah, he's got another chance next week, possibly. Not sure if he's racing next week, but we'll see.
Well, from what I understand, this... I mean, I know he was racing today. I don't know if he's going to be racing beyond that. But of course, as like you said, it depends on the championship situation. If he can be crowned champion today, as just gone through the permutations, then there's no reason to believe he will continue. But of course, I know from what I've seen from Ice-T and spoken to him in the past, I know he really wants to win this championship. I'm sure he'll do everything he can to make sure that he can do that. But of course, his rivals will make sure to do everything they can to stop him. And we've just, with his most immediate championship rival right now, Fletcher, what can he do today? Is he going to be able to stop Ice-T from winning this championship today? Can he continue his form? I don't know if you've been following the last couple of races, Moraine, but Fletcher's form has been absolutely superb since he's joined. He joined back in the German Grand Prix, if you remember back then, and managed to make quite an impression, having a battle with Ice-T before sadly retiring 2 laps from the end after losing it out of turn 1 and going into the wall. But since then, he's never really looked back. He come 4th in Belgium. He was winner in Singapore, winner in Italy, 2nd in Singapore, and a winner last time out 2 weeks ago in Japan in a very dominant display. Would you say Fletcher is the man in form right now?
Yeah, it's very interesting because Fletcher is more the guy who I think is the quickest, but Icy is very consistent, so it's really tough to gain a lot of points on him, especially when you're way behind. He just keeps on scoring and being in the top 5 consistently.
And that's the name of the game. You're absolutely right. In order to win the championship, first thing, before anything else, you have to make sure you're consistent, and Ice-T has done that arguably better than anybody this season. Let's just regarding qualifying, and as you can see, we're just with him now as he's just on his qualifying lap. He has been a very high scorer. He's had some misfortunes, of course, with internet issues and disconnections that have prevented him, particularly in Britain, and of course he had that penalty in Belgium which was caused by a disconnection from his internet, and he thought he'd won that race. So in a weird way, up to a halfway point of the season, Ice-T had a claim in perhaps winning almost all of the races, but he's had his misfortunes, but he's kept his head down, and now he's in a position where he's in his hands. Today he can, if he gets the job done today, does what he needs to do, then we'll be looking at the Constructors' Championship battle, which is equally as interesting. Must be said, Racing Point currently lead it by 19 points. Certainly do not have that in the bag. Ferrari, Renault, Toro Rosso and Mercedes now with Fletcher at the wheel have been really causing a lot of noise in that championship fight. So that's definitely going to get very interesting too. So see Jan will come across the line. Sorry, you were saying?
2.3.
So what sort of times would you be looking out for? What do you think the pole time is going to be around here at the Circuit of Americas?
Yeah, probably they will reach the 31 zones. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. That's our first benchmark time. Just on time there, Moraine. Excellent timing. It's almost as if you kind of knew what Fletcher was going to do there, but that's good to see. A 1:31.4. Fletcher, as usual, lays down his marker on qualifying session, and his qualifying performances of late have been very, very impressive. He seems to be able to find that extra half a second, couple of attempts that other drivers just cannot seem to pull out when they need it most, and he's done that again. A clear 8 attempts clear of Burkay in second place, who himself needs to find a return to form in the Ferrari. He's not had the best of fortunes of late. Still in this championship hunt, although a long way off, but he has to win today as well. There's no going back for him if he doesn't. But perhaps Ferrari are more concerned about the Constructors' Championship, because that is very realistic for them. Only 20 points or 19 points off of Racing Point, and despite Ice-T's impressive form, the lack of consistency from his teammates, Niltix, has really opened the door for other drivers to make a claim. As there we go.
Ice-T's right behind Fletcher.
Oh, no. Great lap from Ice-T there. So for those of you unfamiliar with the qualifying format, just to let you know that it's an 18-minute qualifying session, one session. The top 10 drivers will be able to start the race, I should say, on the tyres that they can set their fastest lap on in dry conditions. Everyone else will have a free choice of tyre. And would you be expecting to see a difference in strategy today, Moraine? Are you expecting a lot of drivers perhaps to go for mediums, or do you feel that the mediums are not fast enough around here?
No, I think the top 10 will all go on softs, because yeah, that's already the case now. We've seen Fletcher and Ice and cars behind also set their time on softs, so it will be difficult to even beat that on mediums, because yeah, the softs are a lot quicker. But yeah, from outside the top 10, yeah, of course you have the free tire choice for the race, and then yeah, they could try something different.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. Of course, we've got to make sure that being a driver there was a bit of contact just saying between the Notix and one of the Williams drivers. It's well, that's a long name and a half. I'm just going to call him X18. So we've got VRL F1 commentators participating. Of course, I made the mistake the other week saying that thinking Compassion was Alex, but it was actually Jaffa Baboon. So not only is Alex one of my favourite commentators on VRL, it's also there's a bit of traffic. Yeah. Oh, poor Sam. I'm not sure what happened. He was trying to avoid the Renault alongside him. It was Papine that had just come out of the pits. Yeah. But I was just saying, yeah, so Jaffa Baboon, Alex and Sem, the Notix, the Mercedes team, well recruited, very quick drivers, and it's great to see them participate. And of course, if I had more time, I'd try and have a go myself, but I'm nowhere near as consistent as these guys to really lay it down. I think I'll stick to commentary for now. My racing days are well behind me.
Sem has actually got some wing damage on his right end plate. It's gone.
Yeah, he had an incident with one of the Williamses where an end plate did go flying towards that long right-hander in the final sector, which has definitely hampered his performance. seeing as Fletcher is now on his outlap now. So it's interesting to see him and Ice-T, only a tenth between them. It reminds me of the showdown between Mika Hakkinen and Michael Schumacher back in 1998 qualifying, where they were literally having a battle of their own in that session, clear ahead of the field. And them two were separated by the finest of margins. Of course, unfortunately for Michael Schumacher, he had that he stalled his car on the start line, which forced him to be relegated to the back of the grid, and well, the rest was history for Mika Hakkinen, winning his first of 2 World Championships. Of course, it'll be great to see these two at the front. I think it's what the fans want to see as well, those two dueling it out. And I think for Fletcher, he knows what he needs to do, but of course, if Ice-T does win the championship this season, Fletcher knows he will definitely give it his absolute all to make sure that Ice-T has to earn it. I wouldn't expect anything less from those guys.
Fletcher's just started another lap. Turn 1 now, some traffic ahead. Oh, this is not where you want the traffic in the S's.
No, right in the S's. Of course, the design based on the famous Maggots and Beckett's corners at the British Grand Prix in Silverstone. It's a very popular track, this one, the Circuit of Americas. It's very much a driver circuit based in the outskirts in Austin, Texas. It's been on the Formula One calendar since 2012. Lewis Hamilton has really loved it here. He's won at the US Grand Prix 6 times, more than any other driver. And, you know, it's a circuit which has decided championships in his favour. He's won the title here twice, back in 2014 and 2019 as well. 2015 probably as well, if I remember rightly. But yes, it's definitely a circuit that Mercedes enjoys, a circuit Hamilton enjoys, and by the looks of it, it's a circuit that Fletcher in particular is enjoying too. So this is coming through the first 2 sectors now. He's set a PB in sector 2, but not really challenging yet. But of course, we'll see how his final sector comes. So it goes for the long right-hander, and it's a real test of the car. The last thing you want it to do is undulate, understeer, and also the back end come out if you've got too much oversteer. It really tests the drivers to make sure they've got the setup just right. As now Fletcher comes through the final corner. He's come across the line as Compassion goes fastest of all.
That's a very quick line.
In the Toro Rosso.
Not in the 30, 1,000 away from a 131.000.
And Fletcher did improve,
And
like you say, Moraine.
was third. It's very close.
The track's starting to rubber in now, so it's a circuit that does tend to get faster as the session goes on, and we're starting to see that already as the sun is starting to set in Austin. The track getting cooler a little bit, be kinder on the tyres, the drivers can push them that little bit more, and now we're starting to see, and it's getting very tight at the front. Top 4 separated by half a second, and Compassion was very impressive in Japan, Moraine. He finished strongly, 2nd overall in that race. He put in a great effort, and he will definitely be in the mix today. Not in the championship fight, of course, but definitely will have a say in how this race plans out. I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
So just under 7 minutes left in the session, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know who you think is going to be on pole position. Of course, we've got the championship fight today, but we want to know what you guys think. Who are you rooting for? Who do you think is going to be on pole? Do you think Ice-T is going to be crowned the inaugural VRL F2 champion today, or will he have to wait? Or perhaps one of our challengers behind him, will they be able to stake a claim and take that championship from him as the season progresses? Of course, as a fan and a commentator, I would love to see this championship go down to the final race, but of course I want the best driver, the one that's earned it, the one that deserves it to be crowned champion at the end. But who will that be? We'll have to wait and see.
Interestingly, we've got Bois on pole and Sean Larry both on the medium tires. They're also both regularly in the front in most races, so interestingly, they both decided to go for the mediums. I don't know, but they're all soft now. Sorry for that. But they're all soft now, so they have worked out.
I mean,
that didn't work on the mediums.
No, it's a bit ballsy, and of course it's worth a gamble, but I feel like the delta times between the mediums and the softs, and you can see Sean Larry's already a second up already in the opening 2 sectors. You can tell the delta's way too strong to even consider the medium tyres. Of course, if you're quick enough, great, but the top 10, well, the top 10 separated by 1.7 seconds, but I'm expecting that one to drop. As you can see, fifth fastest. His teammate Burkheim in the Ferrari, third fastest, and he's
anywhere near Sean Larry's time.
Bit surprised about Brian Pole because he's usually a very good
gosh,
qualifier, but now he's... Oh, there you go. Just as we were about to say, he was struggling, he puts it 4 fastest, so... So just had in the chat, Pine, who's currently in 15th place, still in this championship hunt. Although it's literally probably going to be a matter of time before that changes for him, unfortunately. He says that it's raining in the race, so he's driving on the medium. So driving on the medium would be worthless. So maybe, Moraine, that is why the drivers have now decided to ignore using the mediums and take the gamble and have all gone on the softs, which is interesting to see. Of course, this is a track that does rely on a fairly balanced setup. You need to get the right amount of downforce, but of course in the long DRS sections on the straight, you have too much downforce on your car, you will be like a sitting duck on the straight. So Moraine, without giving too much away, of course, what would your thoughts be towards your setup? Would you be favouring more downforce at this circuit, or would you be looking for some straight line speed in the DRS zone?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because of course you've got the first sector, which is very technical, and you need a good balanced car to go as fast as you can through the S sections. Yeah, they're really tough, trying to get them right, as you see with Jamil on board. And of course you also have the 2 straights where yeah, you need a lot of straight line speed, or you're sitting duck on the straight. So I would go for a balanced setup, like not too many downfalls, but also not that not too much drag on the straight. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's important to get that balance right, of course. And speaking of which, Yoda Speak, our VRL F1 champion for Season 2, back with us once again. It's been great having him here. Great to have a bit of a veteran for VRL joining the ranks. And of course, now we have the F2 League. And of course, there'll be other news on other potential ventures coming up soon. And of course, that will all be announced on the Vision League page and VRL News. And of course, if you want to follow those, it's Vision League on Instagram, VRL_PS4 on Twitter, and of course you can follow our partners Hot Lap Mode, simply Hot Lap Mode on Twitter and Instagram, and of course F1.Gameplay, our new sponsors and partners as well. You can follow them on Instagram, great footage and video play as well, and of course our new website as well. So make sure to check that out. That's in the bio on the Instagram page, the new VRL website. It's got great content from all your favourite drivers, your admins, and of course commentators like myself and Moraine as well. So what more could you want?
Matt is currently best of the rest in P7. He was kind of worried in the chat that his pace might have disappeared. 7th is a good effort.
Yeah, I mean it's by no means. It's by no means a slouchy lobby at all. There's a lot of drivers here that could even give some of the F1 drivers a good run for their money. I think for Matt, as you say, it probably just needs a bit of time to practice, and of course, with the news about the F1 2020 game coming out in the next couple of months, possibly, we'll have to wait and see. The handling model is going to change again. So it's almost like a reshuffle for some of these guys. Of course, we don't know what the cars are like in the real F1 world, but imagine they'll be a bit faster, which I'm sure everyone will be looking forward to. But we'll have to wait and see. I think a bit more experience and a bit more driving for Matt, a bit more practice, and he'll be right up there. He's definitely improved week after week, which is what we want to see, to be honest.
What can he do in his final lap?
It's coming across, and that's fastest. There you go, your first 1 minute 30 time.
I saw him on the middle straight. He got a little bit of a slipstream from Compassion, so both Dutchmen, and Compassion is right behind Ice-T at the moment, so could they do the same again on this lap?
Quite possibly. Yeah, I mean, it's almost unorthodox. It's something you see teammates do, but you never really see rivals do. Of course, Compassion, not a part of this championship battle.
No, I believe they know each other, so that could be...
Well, it's always good to have friends helping you out where you can, and of course, we'll wait and see what he does here. He's just set the fastest first sector, Compassion.
We've got Sean Larry now, and then Brian Paul, then it's Compassion, and then Fletcher. So...
Oh, Moraine, you can see, look, Compassion's right there, and look who's right in front of him, Ice-T. He's giving him a toe, just exactly as you said, so... A little bit of teamwork going on there between two friends.
Yeah.
Totally nothing wrong with that. Not
Fletcher's
against the
right
rules.
behind them as well, so
Yeah, I don't think
we've got
Ice-T's going to be giving
compassion
Fletcher much of a
first
toe.
and then Fletcher. No, I don't think so as well. Oh, Fletcher goes wide.
Oh, he's pushing, he's pushing.
That's costing a lot of time.
But we're just sticking with compassion as well. What is his time like in the middle sector? It was a PB, wasn't a purple, but he got a nice toe off of Ice-T, which I'd imagine is the purple time. Ice-T was purple in the final sector. We'll see what compassion can do now as he comes through the last corner. Try not to go too wide there to invalidate your lap otherwise. Not like in the real Formula 1 world where they were allowed. As he comes through the final corner, what is the time going to be? And he goes on pole position.
17,000.
And what does Fletcher do? And Fletcher,
41.
he just misses out the top three, half a tenth between them. Wow.
We've got Bois on pole and Sean Larry still coming.
I think Bois Pole's lap's been invalidated, unfortunately, so he's going to be stuck in fifth, unless of course Sean Larry can do something. But Sean Larry has gone fastest in the middle sector, Moraine. So in that very quick, that Ferrari definitely showing grunt. Of course, all cars are equal performance. It's down to the drivers and their setups, guys. So now Sean Larry really wringing the neck of that Ferrari, but he's gone wide, but the lap has not been invalidated yet, so he's still okay. Get the final corner right. What's the time going to be across the line? It's going to be close, and he goes fifth. So he does get ahead of Bois on pole, who's not going to be able to improve on his time. Yeah, I think his lap.
Yeah, that's an invalidation. Is it?
Yeah, it's been invalidated, and Stein comes across the line. He gets into the top 10.
Still got a silly guy. That's the last one.
Comes across the line. Well, that is qualifying, and I must say, if that is an appetizer for the main course that we've got later on in the race, well, I'm going to be loosening up my belt because I am hungry for some action, and it's looking very, very tasty indeed at the front. But that is qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, for VRL F2. On pole position, we have MES Compassion 99, continuing his great form from Japan, nails it on pole. Ice-T, the championship leader, needs to win today to win the title. Before anything else is on the front row with him. Fletcher, very close, but third for him on the grid. Burkay and Sean Larry occupying fourth and fifth in the Ferrari, chasing down that constructors title. Great job from them. Bois on pole, not his best effort, but I don't think he'll mind sixth place. Jaffa Baboon in seventh and eighth. It's a row four for Huss with Yoda Speak behind him. And Degeke Jensei in the Renault ninth, and Stein in the Alpha completing the top 10. So what a qualifying session, Moraine. If the race is anything like that, I'm definitely looking forward to it. What were your thoughts on that?
Of course, the top three separated by 41,000 of a second. It's incredible.
Well, this is it.
And we have some rain indeed.
Oh, so that, yes, the predictions were correct. More reliable weather forecasters than the BBC ever could be. But no, it's brilliant. This is exactly what we want to see in a championship fight. Of course, Compassion not part of that, but he's definitely showing his pace. Definitely going to be a factor in this race. Of course, we've seen some wet races in VRL, and it's most important to note, Moraine, that one driver in particular that is not overly strong in the wet, and that's the championship leader, Ice-T. He does tend to not favour the conditions in the same way that Fletcher may, for example. So what would if you were Ice-T, what would your thoughts be going into this race? And of course, I'm getting word from Alex, our VRL F1 commentator, very generous before he lines up, saying the rain is going to dry out before the end. So though it won't rain all
exactly
race.
What I was going to say, yeah, of course it's light rain, so that would be, I was already thinking maybe it won't rain until the end. Yeah, you could have two options of it getting worse or the rain track drying out, or it could stay the same, but that tends to not happen very often in these games.
Yeah. I mean, Austin, Texas is no stranger to a wet race. That's absolutely true. I mean, as I said, I mean, I haven't seen Compassion racing in the wet yet, but of course, I'm pretty sure he can handle himself just fine. This will be the sort of conditions I'm sure Fletcher will be happy with. Another driver who's very accomplished in the wet, Sean Larry, starting the race fifth behind his teammate Burkay, who returned to form for Burkay. Good to see in qualifying. Hopefully he can keep that up in the race. So definitely a lot of contenders. Who do you think, if you were to put your money on one driver to win this race, who do you think it will be, Moraine?
Oh, we might have a problem here. I think we're going to have to restart this lobby.
Oh no. Really? Yeah. I mean, it's on the loading screen. We've got Max sort of
Yeah.
buffering. Although it might be worth just waiting because I was covering a race yesterday and we were all sat at the start for about a minute or two without waiting for the lights. Might be the same issue. So maybe if we just put it on, I mean, perhaps Max might need to leave the lobby. I'm not sure. In order to get this race going, that might be what the problem is. Because at the moment, that seems to be what's holding it up. But in the meantime, guys, obviously while we wait to see what happens, of course, when we know what is going to happen, we will let you know. It's worth pointing out that we have the championship battle going on. Oh no,
Oh yeah.
actually no,
I'm
we see,
gonna
yeah.
have to restart.
Oh, that is a shame. Okay, so we're going to have to restart the session, guys. I'm very, very sorry for this. And just obviously waiting for an update on what we need to do. Wait for an invitation to the next lobby. Well, actually, no, the grid is formed, Moraine, so if you're able to get back in it...
Yeah, I need to do the custom grids, put them all in the right place.
Yeah, I think we might have to, so...
I'm qualifying result on the stream, so...
Yeah. Well, everyone's still going on, but at the moment with this formation lap, but I don't know what's going to happen now. Obviously, it looks like we're going to have to restart it, because we haven't got all the drivers in there. We're missing a few. So bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to have to restart this lobby. There's obviously a glitch and an issue. And that's going to shake up the order. But of course, we'll make sure that the grid is back to where it was after qualifying. So no one is going to lose out. No one's going to gain an advantage. No one is going to lose out on their places. Of course, my co-commentator Moraine is just sorting that out now. So bear with us, guys. This is not the formation lap for the actual race. The drivers are just driving around until we have the lobby restarted. As you can see, some of the drivers leaving the session now. So if you just joined in for VRL F2 racing, of course you've missed a brilliant qualifying session, but don't worry, the race is going to get underway soon. We're just waiting now for the new lobby to be created, and when it's ready we will rejoin that one. Whilst we are waiting, guys, just to let you know, obviously I usually come forward with a question or two based on the race that we are at. So I'm going to give you two questions, but we'll do the first one to see if it's easy. I'll give you another one. So the first question, guys, is for those of you remember the 2005 United States Grand Prix in Indianapolis, one of the last ones to be in Indianapolis, very famous for a race that started with only 6 cars because of the controversy involving the Michelin tyres and the surface of the track being a diamond layered surface, cut up the tyres, and it proved very, very dangerous at high speed. And as a result of that, it meant that it was a health and safety issue where some of the drivers were not able to race. As a result, they weren't able to come to an agreement and ended up being a 6-car race, which was won by Michael Schumacher back in 2005. Now, my question simply is this. For those of you know, Ferrari finished 1-2 in that race with Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello coming 1 and 2. But who finished in 3rd place to score their one and only podium in their Formula 1 career? So which driver came 3rd in the 2005 US Grand Prix? If you guys are able to get that one quickly, we will proceed to an even harder question coming up there. Of course, the cars are lining up for the grid, but I can assure you this is not the actual race. We're just waiting for another lobby to be created, owing to some complications with getting everybody on board. So we're just staying with this because, of course, some people are going to want to see, as you can see, we're just waiting for the lobby to be created, guys, so don't worry. You haven't missed anything. Some drivers are being disqualified from the session if you have tuned in. This is not bearing on the actual race. Of course, there's been issues. You can see there are some empty spaces on the grid where some of the cars used to be. And now we've just received an invite from my co-commentator Moraine, who's very kindly created a new lobby. So apologies for that one, as we're just now moving on to the next lobby, and hopefully we'll be able to get underway for the race. So whilst this is going on, of course, you can stick around, but this might be a good opportunity, guys, if you need to take a little break, use the restroom, grab a drink, grab some food, get comfortable, because we're about to get underway very, very soon. As you can see, the lobby is now reforming, so apologies for the issue with that, as we're now about to restart the race. We're going to go straight to the race. Of course, will be a custom grid, which will be set in the order in which everybody qualified, so no one is going to gain, no one is going to lose out, and hopefully we should be able to get underway very, very soon. As I was saying before, whilst we are waiting for that to be all formed up, we have a race tomorrow in VRL F1. That's the main event for VRL, the US Grand Prix, and it's a huge championship battle shaping up for 5 drivers, I should say, all ducking it out, and of course my co-commentator Moraine being one of those in the hunt for the championship, so of course I hope he does well, be keeping an eye on how he gets on. But I definitely recommend, for those of you who haven't seen any of the VRL F1 races, or even if you have, of course, make sure you do not miss that. You are not going to miss that one. It's going to be an absolute barnstormer. You thought this championship was exciting. The VRL F1 championship is getting very, very interesting indeed, and that's at 2:30 PM UK time, 3:30 European time on the same channel. That's the VRL Hot Lap Mode VRL PS4 YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out from tomorrow from 2:30 PM UK time, 3:30 PM European time. Of course, don't forget to follow our partners on social media, Hot Lap Mode and F1.gameplay. You follow them on Twitter and Instagram under the same names. Those guys produce a lot of great content, and without them, VRL Vision Racing League would not be in the place it is today. And of course, we have the new website as well. So whilst we're waiting, I will bring up the link for that. Of course, it's on our Instagram page for Vision Racing League. You can find the link on there, but I'm just going to bring that up for you guys as well, just in case. Looking through all my racing notes, I do notes and comments to bring up for the race before every broadcast that I do. Just bring that up now. So of course, if you go to the Instagram page for Vision Racing League, you will see on the bio a link tree which will take you to the VRL website. Of course, if you want to go straight to the website, you type in the following address. It's visionracingleague.wixsite.com, and on there you can get all the best content from your favourite online racing league, your favourite drivers from F1 and F2 and all of the teams, and of course our Hall of Fame section. And of course you can check us out on our team as well, including our great commentators from VRL F1, Sem and Alex, of course, and of course our founder Philip Smith, who's put in an excellent amount of work into VRL, and without him in particular we would not be where we are today, of course. And then of course there's me too, so don't forget, what more could you want following from that? Don't forget to sign up, and of course with other projects that will be happening in the future which will be announced in due course. If you want to be involved in VRL in the future, make sure to DM the Vision Racing League Instagram page and sign up. Got plenty of interest, plenty of great opportunities for a lot of aspiring young drivers who want to get involved in the largest growing online racing league on PlayStation. Make sure you let us know if you want to be involved. We'd definitely be happy to have you. But of course, fair warning, hopefully you are quick, consistent and safe, because that's what we're looking for. Of course, we want to see the quickest drivers fighting out amongst each other, but we want to make sure that you guys are safe and consistent as well. So let us know if you're interested. Alright, so it looks like we're almost ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few more moments, of course.
Yeah, I need to do the grid very quickly now.
No worries. That's alright, mate. Take your time. Buy us a couple of minutes. That's obviously the mark of a good set of commentators, is to buy some time in moments where we need to sort this out. Of course, these things do happen from time to time, these technical difficulties. I think we've been kind of blessed in the past where we've managed to run fairly smoothly. However, we'll be back racing very, very soon. Of course, if you've just joined us, give us a like, share and subscribe to the channel. Just want to thank all of you so far that have subscribed to the channel. Of course, we've hit our 200 subscriber mark. We want to get to 300 very, very soon, so let us know what you think of these videos if you're enjoying them, and show us some support. It really, really helps us out a lot. So continue to show us the support if you've already have done, and of course if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, notification bells to get all the latest news and great content for Vision Racing League. We've got so much more projects coming soon. We're very, very excited, and we're looking forward to sharing that with you guys in due course. So it looks like my first question has already been answered very, very quickly by a lot of yous. So the answer to my question was Tiago Monteiro, the Jordan driver. Back in 2005, came third position ahead of the Minardi drivers and also his teammate Narain Kartikeyan in the Jordan. So it was a great day for him. So congratulations to, I think it was, looking through the chat, I think it was so it was Alex Jaffa Baboon. So not only is he a great driver and commentator, he's also very keen on the button on the chat. So congratulations to you, Alex. First one, I believe, to get that one right. Yeah, it looks like so. Well done to you. Very, very quick with that one. So congratulations. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a harder question related to the US Grand Prix. Because usually some of my questions can be a bit easier than others, sometimes not. So let's have a look through some of my notes. So, 2018, brilliant day in the Circuit de Americas. Kimi Raikkonen recording his last win for Ferrari and also his last current win in Formula 1. The current Alfa Romeo driver driving for them this season. Whether he will continue beyond this season remains in doubt, although owing to the COVID-19 situation we may have to wait a bit longer on that. Obviously we want Kimi to stay in Formula 1 as long as possible, but after his legendary win at the Circuit de Americas in 2018, he broke the record, or ended the run, of the longest number of races, or the most number of races I should say, without a race win. Can anyone hazard a guess as to tell me how many races that run had stretched on for? So, how many races did Kimi Raikkonen fail to win and record that record before finally winning in the 2018 US Grand Prix? Of course, it's an arbitrary figure.
I can't see the position 13 to 20 on the screenshot from the results.
Okay, no problem, buddy.
I might just have to...
It's okay, I can try and... That's right, bear with me one sec. So, guys, don't worry 1 second. I'm just going to go through the stream and help Moraine out. Because obviously we only showed the top 10 for qualifying as we went across the line. So, bear with me. I'm going to try and go to the end of the session and see where we were.
Oh yeah, I can.
Have you got it?
Yeah. Yeah, wait.
Okay, no problem. You're good, yeah? Excellent.
Yes, I've got them now.
Yeah, so I could run through the order for you if you want, mate, or are you okay?
From 13th to 20th could be nice.
So 13th was Jamel, F1.
Yeah.
Stein was 14th.
No, what? I've got Stein in 10th here.
Oh, is that right, or have I missed that? Oh no, he was 10th. Yeah, no, excuse me. Sorry, I've gone too far back. Bear with me 1 sec. Yeah, he did go 10th. Excuse me. So sorry. So Max was 13th actually, I should say, in the McLaren.
Yes.
Jamel 14th.
Yes.
Sem the Notix 15th.
Yes.
Papine was 16th.
Yes.
Silly Guy 17th.
Yep. Kimi and Big Roo.
Big Roo was 18th, yeah, and then Kimi was 19th. Yeah, so thank you, Phil. Yeah, so Stein was 10th. Sorry, my mistake. We've corrected that now. And did we have a 20?
Ready up now.
And whoever the last person was 20th. It's the same. FIFA Ninja saying he was 20th and he joined late, so he will start at the back. So apologies for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. So we're just forming the grid now. A bit unorthodox. Normally we'd be underway in the races right now. So of course with my Kimi Raikkonen question, for those of you that, if you're not able to get the correct number, I will accept the closest to that. So it looks like we're just about to get underway. Just a few more moments, of course, guys. If you've just joined us for the coverage. You haven't missed much. We've just had the qualifying session, but of course the lobby, there was a bit of an issue with getting the race underway, so we've had to restart the lobby, but of course with a custom grid, and my co-commentator Moraine has done an excellent job in getting that all set up, and it looks like we are now about to finally get underway. So Moraine, thank you so much for restarting that lobby and creating that grid. It looks like we've got everything ready and raring to go. So guys, strap yourselves in, get yourself a warm beverage, get yourself something to eat, get comfortable on your sofas, turn up the volume, leave the kids in the bedroom if you want and turn up the volume, let them play something else, or if they want to, let them watch the race with you as well if they're racing fans. As we are about to get underway for round 9 of the VRL F2 Championship at the US Grand Prix down in Austin, Texas, the Circuit des Americas. Been on the Formula 1 calendar since 2012, has seen many championship successes, most notably for Mercedes. And now we may see the crowning of our inaugural VRL F2 champion in Ice-T, but of course, as mentioned before, he has to win and get the fastest lap to remove all doubt. Of course, there are other results he can get, but of course we'll keep you updated with that as the race proceeds on. So of course, if those of you who were with us before would know that it was raining. And it is raining once again, so we're going to try and replicate the track conditions exactly as they were.
Yeah.
Just about to get underway. So yeah, no, great job, Moraine. Thank you very much for that.
So stressful.
Oh, I can imagine, but no, it's brilliant. Obviously, guys, you need to give a like, share, and subscribe just for Moraine's immense effort.
Yes.
And if you haven't, if he hasn't earned your support by now, then nothing ever will. No, great job. Thank you very much for helping us with that. And now we're about to get underway for the race. As we've got the, don't worry, we've got the formation lap to come. So now we've got all that out of the way, Moraine, back to the small matter of the race now. So obviously the wet conditions, as we talked about earlier, that these conditions would normally favour someone like Fletcher or Sean Larry. Of course, we've not seen Compassion drive in wet conditions yet, so this will be interesting to see what he can do. But Ice-T, try if you can, put yourself in Ice-T's position right now. Of course, you've got your own championship fight, but in conditions that don't necessarily favour him, will he be trying to go for it? Or will he try and just accept as best position as he can get and not try and risk retiring or losing points? Because every point could be critical.
Yeah. It's could take two things exactly. It's very, yeah, it basically depends on if he's racing next week.
I mean, I don't know if that is the case. Of course, someone's knocked down one of the cones already, which, to be fair, was going to get knocked over anyway at this race. These sort of tracks, that happens, especially with tracks with plenty of runoff areas as well. But no, you're absolutely right. A lot could depend on what Ice-T does. I'm pretty sure he would want to race in F1 as soon as he can. He certainly earned the opportunity. From having watched him race all season long, and in other categories as well, it must be said. He's a very consistent driver across all forms, very quick, and I'm sure he'll do VRL F1 a lot of justice. It'll be sad for me personally not being able to commentate on his races in F2, but it's been a pleasure seeing him drive, and it's been a pleasure to commentate on what could be his day in the sun. Not necessarily the American sun, because it hasn't really shown an appearance in this race so far, but I'm sure once the clouds settle, the pitch will become a lot clearer in about 50 minutes time.
Intermediate tyres.
So of course the conditions earlier was that it was raining and it would dry up. That may still happen, and Fletcher's car has disappeared from the picture. I'm not sure what's happened to him. He's still there by the looks of it.
Yeah, he's on pit lane. Yeah, you get disqualified from formation lap if you collide with something. So he's probably collided with Burkhardt.
Yeah.
He's also on the grid.
I see a lot of drivers have been a bit of a naughty boy on the way to the grid there. I mean, it's quite funny. I don't know if you remember, Moraine, it reminds me of the first race that we covered together back in Canada. And if you remember rightly, some of our more familiar fans will know that I'd kind of messed up my lines on that one and started calling the action, and then it was the formation up, and nobody told me. But no, well, we all make mistakes, rookie, noob error. But now we're about to get underway, guys. As the lights to go, 4 lights, it's 5 lights, there may be a delay, but it is time to go. Wait for it, guys. There's always a delay. It's time to go. This is longer even than usual, and it's racing. There we go. Better late than never. It's a great getaway from Ice-T, but Fletcher gets away well. Fletcher's gone between the two of them, and he's taken it. It's 4 wide going into turn 1. You've got a Ferrari, you've even got one pole there. Fletcher. Oh, and Fletcher's gone the back, and you've got a Haas going around the outside there. Is everyone able to get away cleanly? It looks like there's a McLaren there that's lost a little bit, silly guy, but they've all got away relatively cleanly. And what a start from Fletcher. That's exactly what he needed to do. He's cleared Compassion and Ice-T.
4 positions. He's in 6.
It's a nightmare start from Ice-T. This is not what he wanted to have happen to him. He's dropped down into 6th position. He got mugged off the start line. It looked like a good initial getaway, but and Sean Larry.
X18 has spun.
Yeah, and Ice-T's dropped down as well. He's dropped down to 7th.
Oh.
Nightmare stuff, Ice-T, and there's collision, there's contact, and Max has been sent spinning around. He had contact with Jaffa Baboon, with Yoda Speak there, sent him spinning around. What a start. This is not the start the championship leader wanted. He really needed to get away well. It looked like the initial getaway was good, but he goes up the inside of his teammate Niltix, who does not fight him off. He obviously knows he needs to help his teammate in this championship battle, and he lets him through very, very easily. Up into 6th place, so Moraine, championship leader, dropped down to 7. It looked like a good original getaway from him, but the rear tyres spun up and he was completely mugged off the line. All of a sudden, Fletcher had passed him, the 2 Ferraris had cleared him, even Bottom Pole, who's got up to 4th position, have all cleared him. What a start.
Toro Rosso of AMC F33 has gained 7 positions on this opening lap, and he's going side by side with Pines.
Wow. Well, Papine really needs to get in the action. Of course, his championship hopes are hanging by a thread. And of course, Darth FIFA commenting in there, the Vrl F1 driver, commenting saying that when you do not use traction control, this happens. Rest in peace, Ice-T. Of course, it's worth pointing out. It's worth pointing out that yes, some assists are allowed, including in medium traction control if drivers need it, and that could be a big factor in this race in wet conditions, Moraine. Perhaps not using the traction control could be his downfall.
Yeah. Oh, Fletcher has got a big lead already.
Well,
checking out.
He's doing what he needs to do. Knowing Fletcher, he's been practicing this track a lot all week, almost sweating it, perhaps, if you like. Not necessarily a bad thing. But he definitely takes it seriously. He's definitely not one to just turn up to make up the numbers, and he's getting away at the front, stamping his authority on this race. Could he be the first triple race winner in VRL F2? Very well could be, if he manages to get it done today. And he'll have to keep...
A third. It's very interesting with the Guam pole being in the Ferrari sandwich.
Yeah. So nice. He goes to the inside, and he left it open, but there's contact a little bit, but they're still able to hold it round. Now Burkheim's going to have the inside line.
No, he can't.
No. Stays ahead of him, but he's not out of the woods just yet. Brian Pole has got a good run at the inside. Is he going to dive in? No, he's going to tuck in, hold on to 4th position. Oh, he's gone very wide. Well, it's great racing to see already, and Fletcher checking out of the front.
He's losing a lot of time to the cars in 3rd, 4th and 5th.
I mean, could it be the nerves, or is he... I mean, we've said before, he tends to struggle.
One pull down the inside.
Oh, I do apologise, yes.
Late launch.
Oh, and he's got a time penalty as well, Ice-T, for multiple warnings. So you're right, Moraine, he's really struggling in these wet conditions. This is not what he would have wanted. As one pole cuts across the track, and he's going to get a penalty for corner cutting, but will he have to give up that place to Sean Larry? Because you could argue he managed to stay ahead of him by virtue of going off the road there in that runoff area. Well, it's already started. Brian Pole definitely not looking out of place between the 2 Ferraris. But he's coming under some immense pressure from Sean Larry, but Burkhardt just ahead of him in third. There's now Fletcher is now almost 4 seconds ahead already, and look at that. Battle for third place
and
now, Burkhardt.
Is overtaking his fellow commentator of Vrl F1, Alex.
Oh, we'll have to get back to that in a minute.
Positions. Good drive from Sam so far. And they're fighting.
Oh, there it is. Battle of the VRL F1 commentators. You're right, Moraine. What is it? And Alex manages to hold on to the position. He holds position there.
The Ferraris and the Williams are already fighting again. Lots of battles.
It's crazy. It's hard to follow. We need more cameras. We need replays. I can't keep up with all of this. Oh, it's just like Japan. It just overtakes galore. And of course, guys, remember, no safety car, from what I understand, in this race either. That's been removed, just like it was in Japan. So there will not be a safety car in this race if there's a big incident. And a lot of you guys have expressed your satisfaction for that. So hopefully we'll keep that going to the end of the season and review again for the next VRL season, whether that be on F1 2019 or 2020, we shall see. So 4 laps into the race, guys.
Well, Paul switches to the inside, and he cuts the track.
Oh, he's cut right across the track. He's not going to be able to keep that position. As Burkhardt goes ahead, but he's got another penalty bar on pole, and now he's going to come under pressure again from Sean Larry. He's been forced very, very wide before the S's, and he has to go on the brakes.
He goes off again.
What is he doing? That's 3 penalties now for Bois Pole. I mean, he's got to give up that position to Sean Larry. He's only staying ahead by virtue of doing that.
9 seconds of penalties.
Stewart's Stewart's not going to look handy on that. Yeah, he's flying at the moment. Fletcher, very strong in the wet conditions. He's been strong around here all weekend, and he's definitely enjoying the rain in Austin. Of course, the weather could change. Bois Pole's got a great run now on Burkhardt. Let's go for move. No DRS because of the wet conditions. We're on board with the Williams driver now. As he goes for a move up the inside, early on the brakes. Burkhardt late of the late breakers. They touch, wheels collide. Burkhardt forced a little bit wide. He's going to be on the outside coming into the sharp hairpin. Coming up now, Bois Pole hanging out there. He's stuck to the outside. He's forced very wide. Gets the shoulders out. Goes to the inside and finally makes the move stick.
And now Sean Larry's right behind his teammates as well.
Oh, the 3 of them all right together. Sean Larry at the back of the front row seat. And Felix saying there, Bois Pole corner cutting just like TM at Marduk. He'd be proud of that one. I'm sure Ben would be very proud of that one. But yeah, it's not what Bois Pole needs to be doing. Of course, up into 3rd place now, but Sean Larry's getting very close behind his teammate. Is any one of them going to be making a lunge into turn 1? It's almost a blind crest into turn 1. You really have to know where the braking point is to get it right, or you're going to miss it altogether. And now Burkhardt's gone very wide on the exit. It's going to allow the 2 Ferraris who are battling in the Constructors' Championship. The last thing they are going to want to do is take each other out, because there's a Constructors' Championship, which at the moment, they're in a very good position to get right up to Racing Point. Another penalty. Has he cut the track again? Oh, wow. I mean...
Yeah, he's got 12 seconds of penalties. At this rate, he's going to get disqualified.
What is it, 5 and you're done, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, I think the rate this is going, we're going to find out very, very soon how many it is going to be. I mean, Bois Pole has decided to rewrite the layout. Obviously, he's not a fan of the track layout of the US Grand Prix. He's decided to write his own version. Don't think the stewards are going to quite see it that way, but anyway, still with this battle. Of course, there is a race elsewhere, guys, but all the action is happening right here for 3rd place now. The 2 Ferraris.
And Jensi is on the outside of Niltix.
Oh, he's going to hold that move. Niltix fighting for 7th and 8th position. Racing Point need to score points with Ferrari looking feisty, but of course Renault still in this fight as well. And Degeke Jense replacing Magic Alonso this weekend. Doing a good job in 8th place, trying to fight the Racing Point, so he's definitely not looking out of place. His teammate Papine needs to get further up the order, but he's behind the 2 Hasses. Alex is falling further and back from Sem, so Sem's got to move on left then behind in the Mercedes, and now Alex is trying to fend off his teammate. Vrl F1 Season 2 champion, Yoda speak, starting to find his rhythm now, but he needs to get ahead of his teammate.
It's home Grand Prix, driving an American team.
Oh, it doesn't get any better than that, does it? Imagine a nice hot barbecue out back in Texas. 10-gallon
He lets him pass.
Ah, well, so there we go.
A call from Günther Steiner there.
I'm sure he'd be very happy about that. Oh, and he's gone very wide, Alex, into turn 1.
Alex has got damage. His left end plate is not on anymore.
Oh, you never guess.
When that happened.
Well, you'll never guess what, Moraine. Guess who's got another penalty?
Oh no.
He's got another penalty, and Burkay has moved up into 3rd position. We've missed that one. Not sure if that was an overtake, but once again, Warmpole, 15 seconds of time penalties. At this rate, he's going to end up plumb last because of his penalties, no matter where he finishes in this race. As we'll go further down the order, actually no, I'm going to go back to that actually, because Warmpole right behind Burkay. He's in the slipstream. You go on board with him now. Is he going to go for a lunge up the inside? He switches left, he switches to the left-hand side, the inside, but he's very late on the brakes. Is he going to make the corner? He does. But Burkay gets a great run, but Sean Larry is also there on the outside. It's going to be pretty wide.
Didn't give enough space.
But he's going to go very wide. It's compromised, and both rows of Sean Larry's gone up into 3rd place. Brilliant stuff from Sean Larry. Up it into 3rd place. But Warmpole dives around the inside. Burkay is getting touched all over the place. This is surely inappropriate. We're going to have to change the age rating on this one, the amount of touches he's been doing. And well, Warmpole with his antics is now down into 5th place, and Sean Larry finally gets ahead of his teammate and has already pulled out a gap while them two are fighting off. So Sean Larry now ahead of his teammate, ahead of Warmpole, now looking to get after the leaders who are a long way down the road, it must be said. Fletcher, get this, Fletcher is 13.5 seconds ahead of Sean Larry in 3rd, and we're only on lap 7. As Warmpole goes for a move to the inside, goes for a dive bomb, he's cut the corner a little bit again, but the stewards deem that move legal this time around. I'm just going to follow him now. Is he going to cut the corner again? Not this time. I'm almost tempted to watch him lap by lap just to see, and Burkay's got a penalty, so he's got a penalty now. So we'll go further down the order now. So AMC F33 in 12th position, fighting off Alex, who's, as you said, Moraine, he's struggling with damage at the moment, and he's really falling down the order, Alex. After a strong start, he's struggling. I mean, he's definitely going to need to pit, but at the moment, he's trying to deal with it as best he can now as MC33. Is he going to go for a move up the inside in the Toro Rosso? Is Alex going to be able to hold him off? He does this time, but he's going to have that long run down the straight as Stein moves up into 16th place in the Alfa Romeo. Not had the best of starts. Started 10th, has fallen down the order. Now he's trying to recover as well. What a start, guys.
AMC started from last, around the outside of Alex.
Yeah, he's gone for a move up the outside. He braked late, but Alex just able to hold it there. It looked like AMC was not overly confident he could make that move stick. And oh, and Papina's gone for a move. He's hit the back of Alex at the inside. He's not messing about, and he's moved up into 12th position. But can he hold it? He's going to have the outside line, and AMC's. Oh, they're going to touch. There's going to be contact, surely. Oh wow!
Yeah,
and this piece of end plate is falling off the Renault.
Yeah, that's.
Is that the Renault, or is that the?
That's
nothing.
Very unfortunate for Alex. Alex has got big damage. He had nothing he could do about that.
Yeah, he's lost even more. Half his front wing has been taken off. He's got to have to pit. And he does. He dives into the pits now. And what a shame for Alex. Really, not much he could really do about that. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
We'll definitely have a look at that.
As Sem goes for a move up the inside, passes Niltigs into 8th place. So Sem doing a great job for Mercedes, just like his teammate, but he goes very wide. Oh my word. He hasn't got another penalty, has he? I can't see a penalty notification. I think the stewards have just given up. They're just tallying it. I'm going to have to wait and see what happens later on. And there you go. Better late than never. Yeah, it's another penalty.
Yeah, it can't be very long until he gets disqualified if he continues like this.
Well, I have it as 6 at the moment, so that's 18 seconds. Quick maths there from Adam, not necessarily Big Shaq, but yeah. You're done though. But Jaffa Baboon gets a tyre penalty. Alex having a hard time, just come out. His race is getting from bad to worse at the moment. Stick in there, Alex, I'm sure. Hopefully the race will come to you later on, but not the best of fortunes for him. But well, what do you make of the opening 8 laps, Moraine? There's been action all over the field. We've got Fletcher dominating, got Warmpole, who's getting more penalties than Man United usually get at Old Trafford in a season at this rate. But what a start to this race.
The third has been amazing. We've also seen plenty of battles in the midfield. It's very close at the moment.
Well, as predicted, now that Sean Larry has managed to get ahead of Burkai and Brian Pole, he's managed to stretch that gap out. He's now 4 seconds ahead, but he's falling further back from Compassion, so he's going to have a very lonely race in third position as it stands. I'm not sure if that would be enough.
I see this under threat from Jency.
Yeah, he's really struggling in these wet conditions. It's very strange for a driver as good and consistent as IST, but in the wet conditions he doesn't seem to be able to handle the car. Maybe it's because he doesn't use traction control and perhaps the others do. I don't know what all the assist guys use, but it would definitely be a factor. And with the assists being the way that they are, running with traction control in these conditions will do a lot better for you than running without it. Maybe that's what he's feeling, I don't know, but he's definitely struggling and he needs to get a move on if he wants to win the championship today. Of course, it can't be long now until we reach the pit stop phase, of course, Moraine, as Sem, the Nautix, gets a penalty. It can't be long now before the drivers may consider a pit stop. Of course, if it stays wet the whole race, I'm not sure about what conditions you set it at, but it's going to be a one-stop race. So it could dry out. Oh, and the Keke Jense getting very wide there, getting very loose with the back end. As Big Roo back in the Red Bull gets a penalty. It's a poor showing for Red Bull, 17th and 18th. Oh, and you're right, he's made the move on Niltix once again, up into 8th position. Sem, can he hold it this time? Because he lost the place. Yoda Speak has caught right up to the back of these two in 10th place, so he's starting to find his rhythm even more now, and he's moving up the order, so it's great to see from him. But as I was saying before, Red Bull, the last couple of weeks, Red Bull were doing very, very well the last few races, but they're really struggling today. The Sem and Yoda Speak, the first two to make scheduled pit stops. Brian Pole, you guessed it, and he spun it. Oh, he's penalty, and he's retired from the session. He's given up the ghost. Has he been disqualified? I don't believe he has. I think he's genuinely decided to give up the ghost on that one, and he's out of the race, Moraine. So 7 time penalties for Brian Pole, I counted there, and he won't be getting any more. He's out of the race.
Yeah. Racing Point is a big Ferrari at this rate because, of course, Jens is right behind IC now. We'll probably have a go on this straight. And also, Miltix was passed by Sem.
Well, it's good to see. I mean, for Ice-T, oh, he's having a face-off to Keke Jensi now, who's gone to the left-hand side. He's gone to the inside. Is Ice-T going to be able to hold it off? He doesn't. Yes. He allows the move, and it's a great move up the inside from Keke Jensi, replacing Magic Alonso for this weekend in the Renault. He's definitely showing, but Ice-T goes for a move up the inside. Oh, it's gone very loose, gone very risky there. Oh, and he's just about held onto it. And he's managed, his car is intact there. It was very, very risky from Ice-T there. First sign of some real aggression from him. And it almost come to the detriment of his front wing. Thankfully for him, that's not happened. But saying to Keke Jense, making his debut in VRL racing, covering for Magic Alonso, great effort from him so far, Moraine, up into 5th position in the wet, doing very, very well indeed.
Yeah, of course, Sam and Matt pitted on the last lap. Yeah, could potentially the guys who haven't pitted, could they try to go to the dry on these tires? It will be very difficult because it's not close to drying.
Oh, and Ice-T's lost it there, got very wobbly, so he's starting to really struggle even more now. But you're absolutely right, Moraine. It's important to note that as the track's conditions start to improve, whenever that may be in this race, we may end up in a position where the drivers are possibly going to go longer, but I believe maybe Sem and what Matt have done, and there may be a logic to that. Putting on a fresh set of inters, it might cost you now, but you're going to be faster than everyone else in theory. And on top of that, everyone may have to stop. You know, a two-stopper may not be the bad way to go if the track starts to dry out around about now. And maybe by the
It's
time...
gambling.
Hmm.
The guys who haven't pitted, they don't know if they will make it. So yeah, if they'll, of course, they're losing time to Sam and Matt now because they've got a lot fresher tires. If they decide that they can't go to the dry later and have to pit eventually, then Sam and Matt are the big winners now in this.
No, you're absolutely right, and not to mention they're both in clear air, both of them at least 6, 7, 7, so plenty of room, and Sem is definitely making the use of those tyres, looking very, very quick at the moment. There's now Stein back in 14th position, he's had to recover from the back, he's now battling with Alex, who's had a bit of a dismal start to this race, but it's still plenty of time for him to turn it around, running in 15th, and he's very quick, Alex, so I'm pretty sure he'll be able to make a move up the field as this race progresses. And he goes for a move up the inside there, very clean move, but Stein's going to see him very late, he's going to touch. No, he does not make that move stick. So Stein managed to hold it around the outside there, stays in 14th position. As you can see further down the order, I'm not sure what's happened to Jamal though.
AMC have pitted.
They have indeed, that's good eye there. So now Niltix, where will he come out? Will he come out
well ahead of them?
Yeah, Sem has cleared them. So we're starting to see a lot of drivers now taking the gamble, as you said.
Has overtaken AMC. Was behind, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think AMC just came out of the pits, so yeah, no, you're right. So that's another move for Matt. There with the undercut, make that work. And Niltix has got a time penalty. Of course, we'll have to keep an eye on some of these time penalties. We won't have to worry about Bois and Paul getting time.
Sean Larry are battling.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah, you're right. So we've so somewhere along the way, I believe Compassion has made a mistake because he's lost a lot of time to Sean Larry. He was about 6, 7 seconds, 10 seconds behind.
Also lost a few seconds to Fletcher as well. It was like 12 seconds, now it's 16. Oh yeah, probably was made a mistake.
Yeah, I mean Fletcher's driving an incredible race out front so far. He has all the luxury in the world really in terms of strategy. He doesn't have to. He could probably pit now and be okay, but he ain't taking the risk. Oh, this is a bit of an interesting one. So he is possibly, will he go 2 stops or will he try and eke these tyres out to the end? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it depends on how long the rain will last.
It's a bit of a risk, but I suppose at this point in the season, Sean Larry knows that the situation behind him, not a lot of drivers...
I see is Sean Larry.
Well, Sean Larry just come out of the pits.
But I see also... Oh, he didn't pit.
Yeah, no, he hasn't pit. That was Niltix. No, it's okay. I've made those plenty throughout this season. But, yeah, so he's taking that risk, Sean Larry, looking to try and see if he is able to make up some places with his strategy. But, of course, if the track doesn't dry up quick enough, then he's going to be suffering on those tyres later on. I mean, if you were in this position, Moraine, what would you do? Would you be trying to go to later in the race now? Or would you try and pit earlier, potentially go for a 2-stopper, but be fast on these tyres now?
Yeah, of course. I think the 2-stop is safe, because if you pit now, you have 2 options. If it dries out, you can still go to dries, but if you just continue on, it's not sure that you'll make it to the dry if it dries out, and you're gonna lose a lot of time if it doesn't dry out because your tires are very warm. Especially if I was like in the position of Fletcher, I would pit now because he's got 18 seconds to Compassion. He'll drop behind him, but they are another 8 seconds behind Compassion, so they'll be in a nice bit of clean air.
We're just seeing the battle for 14-15 between Stein and Alex, and Alex goes at the inside again. Stein had overtook him on the straight, and this time Alex makes a stick. He is up in the 14th. Great battle between them two. It's just such a shame it's for 14th and 15th position. Well, there's been an incident. One of the McLaren, silly guy, is retired from the race. Yeah. But I was just going to say here. So for Fletcher out front, I totally agree with that. I mean, he could pit now and be okay, but I think given his current place, he's still lapping quicker than almost practically everybody else. So he has the luxury of continuing to build up this gap. and see what options he has later on. Of course, the one downside to Fletcher being so fast is he doesn't get a lot of airtime on this channel, because obviously it would make for a very boring race if we followed him the whole way through. But he's going around doing what he does best, leading from the front. Funny enough, how similar to what Sebastian Vettel would do, Michael Schumacher, even Lewis Hamilton. And speaking of which, we've got an interesting battle between our current championship leader, Ice-T, now trying to fend off Sean Larry. Two completely different strategies, but the two of them may end up battling towards the end of this race. And Sean Larry right on the inside now. He's in the DRS. There is no DRS in the wet conditions. Goes to the inside. Is he going to be late on the brakes? He's on much fresher intermediate tyres, and he makes the move stick. Ice-T, nothing really to defend with. And unfortunately for Ice-T, this race for him has been seeing a lot of cars overtake him. It's not been the race he would be hoping for to try and seal this championship. But there's still plenty left to go. And what is Compassion going to do? Has options, but right now he's in lowly second place. As Kimi is having a battle now with Sem. Kimi stayed out longer, up into 8th place, and he's leading a train as Sem goes to the inside. Oh, and he's going to touch. He's very cautious there, forces Kimi to go wide, and Sem's going to be on much fresher intermediates, and he's surely going to be able to drive around the outside. But Kimi hangs it in there on the inside, just like Max and Kimi Raikkonen did a couple of years ago. But it's a great move from Sem up the outside and into 8th place, and now Neil Tick's behind them. Is he going to get racy on the inside? He does, and also is Matt. Yoda speak inside as Kimi goes into the pits. So all that really for nothing.
Matt overtake Neil Ticks as well.
We're on board with Matt now, and he's got a great run. He's going to make a dive at the inside, the blind crest into turn 1. You can't see the apex till now, and it's a great move. Hangs it at the inside. And this is great to see. It does warm the heart to see Matt, after being so long, really getting quicker race by race and improving. I'm looking forward to seeing if he does compete next season, where he will fit in the order. He's definitely one to watch out for, with his experience, of course. And now Sean Larry battling with Dekeke Jensei. Already has got on the outside of him into the far section. Is Jensei going to fight it? No, he does not. Tucks him behind Sean Larry, and Sean Larry now back up into 4th place in the Ferrari, a purple middle sector as well to boot, so he is flying on those intermediate tyres. But of course the three in front of him arguably are trying now to eke their tyres out, perhaps until the end of this race. Fletcher goes on another lap 16, so Moraine, looks like you're right, sorry, just saying that. Matt has gone up and moved on the inside of Sem, so Matt is up into 8th place now, so Matt is definitely the man on the move right now.
And the cars ahead of him still have to pit, so I would say he's probably in a net P5.
Could well be. I mean, the 3 guys in front of him have not pitted. As Sean Larry goes faster. Oh, there's been contact. Sem has had contact with Niltix, has lost it, and he's gone into AMC 33, who's a victim there. Oh, what a shame for Sem. He hasn't had any damage. I think AMC 33 has. Oh, and he completely lost it. But as you can see, Felix asking to show the pit stops. As up the inside goes AMC 33, inside of Sem, up into 10th place now, and the championship points, all of a sudden Papine and Alex in 12th and 13th can now see a championship point. It's just ahead of him. And now Sem is going to go from inside of turn 1. He goes in very late with a little bit of a dive bomb, just checks it to make sure he doesn't hit him, but it compromises his run. And in this time, MCF 33 able to hold on to that point, but it goes very wide. It's going to compromise his run through the S's now. Can Sem make a move through? He has to tuck in. And it's seen just showing the pit stops now, Moraine, as you can see. So the top 3 have not stopped.
It's only Sean Larry who's pitted.
Yeah, so you're right. Matt, really, in 8th place, could find himself in the top 5. Great effort from him. But right now, as you can see, it looks like your predictions in terms of what the leaders are going to do, they're looking like they're going to hold out until the track dries out later on. When will that be? And how long can they hold out for before it's too late? Of course, Sean Larry further up the road, as the Keke Jensei has made a mistake somewhere, and that's allowed Ice-T to move up into 5th place. So he's starting to struggle on those tyres.
I don't think you can do the whole race on one set of intermediate tyres.
I'm just wondering in the rules, this sounds a silly question, but do they have to make a mandatory pit stop? I feel like they have to make at least one.
So.
Maybe not.
Yeah, but the intermediates can't make it, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I've never personally tried to go the whole race on intermediates, purely because it's, well, it's like
Can
driving on
do it,
ice.
yes, on some tracks. Yeah, I think you can.
Perhaps low.
Is probably the fastest man on the track.
Yeah, and he's passed his teammate up into third place, so we've missed that one as well. Burkai's moved out of the way for his teammate, as Mad has gone up into 7th place. Obviously, Dekeke Jensei has pitted finally, but he's gone on to intermediates, interestingly. So perhaps we may be, I mean, the track conditions haven't exactly improved too much. Maybe the rain is going to hold out for as long as possible. Will we see Compassion and Fletcher react now to that pit stop?
Fletcher doesn't need to take risks. Maybe it's even. Yeah, Compassion is probably not even in his pit stop window anymore, so he can just wait to see what the rest does. Fletcher, he's still faster than Compassion.
Well, with the exception of Sean Larry, he's faster than everybody else at the moment, and Sean Larry is a good half a minute behind Fletcher. So, and then Fletcher is, as well as being a very quick driver, he's also very smooth in his wheel input. So he's very, very good at managing the tyres, and I'm pretty sure now that he's in a rhythm, now that he's in a groove and doesn't make many mistakes, he'll be looking after his tyres very well, and I don't believe he has a penalty either. So right now, very much advantage Fletcher.
7 minutes.
So looking further down the order again, so we've got the battle for 11th, 12th and 13th place between Alex and Sem. Once again, the VRL F1 commentators reigniting their battle, and of course AMC F33 just ahead of them in 10th in the last championship point. So that's where the battle is at the moment for the last championship point, to see how much these guys really, really want it. Of course, I can imagine the bragging rights between Sem and Alex, depending on which one finishes on top of the other in tomorrow's broadcast, which of course you can tune in to watch live on the Hot Lap Mode VRL PS4 YouTube channel from 2:30 PM UK time, 3:30 PM European time. And we'll hope to see you there for the VRL F1 American Grand Prix as Alex goes up the inside of AMC 33. Very big ballsy dive bomb, and makes the move stick. And Papine almost losing the backhead behind him and Sem. Great move from Alex. Good to see Alex is finally able to recover his race after such.
Max is right behind Max.
You're absolutely right, he is. So Max is probably a bit of a shout out for Max, who's drove fairly solid, fairly good so far. Obviously still needs to stop possibly, but up in 6th place, good effort, but he's a sitting duck now. Well, you're right, he has, yeah. So he's managed to overhaul the Compassion again. Compassion's made another mistake. He's lost more time again, and Sean Larry has moved up into 2nd place. So now, not only he's a pit stop ahead of him.
He goes around the outside from a long way back. Max left him the space on the outside there.
And yeah, you're right, Matt is now up to 6th place.
And Icy pits, so Matt is going to be ahead of Icy. The rain is getting less interesting to see Icy pitting because the drops have really started to decrease.
Yeah, it's a lot more
go
finer.
Intermediates, that's a bit late. Yeah.
It's a lot more finer now than it was. You're absolutely right, but there's still a lot of water on the track. Of course, a drier line has formed. And for Felix in the chat going, great move from Alex. Yeah. In certain parts, there's still a little droplets, but you're right, the rain is looking like it's starting to ease up now. So, as you're right, Ice-T has now dropped behind his teammate Niltix. He's down to 8th place. And the track is starting to dry up a little bit, so the cut-off point could be getting closer and closer to us now, where dry tyres may be the option. Of course, if you're Fletcher, you've got half a minute to Sean Larry, who's probably going to have to stop again also. But I'm wondering if Ice-T, is that a bit premature? Could he have stayed out a little longer? He may live to regret that one as this race goes on. I've just seen in the chat now, guys. So Felix going, great move from Alex Boomberg. Nice to see in the chat. Hopefully I did that one justice. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Moreno. I'm wondering. I think Ice-T may have not gone the right way on strategy there. He probably could have stayed out a bit longer. But he was struggling on the wet tyres, and he probably wanted to get off those tyres as quick as he could. As now Papine tries to make a move for 10th with AMC F33.
Compassion and Burkeye are pitting. Don't tell they're going on to another set of intermediate.
Well, let's have a look and see what they do. What tyres are they going to go on? I think I see dries, yeah. You're right.
I think it's a bit too early, but it could work out if it starts to dry now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
might come out.
It's a bit of a risk, but if they can look after the tyres and not fall off the road in the first
couple
laps.
I see it's pitting again.
Oh no.
If he stayed out one more lap, it would have been 5th instead of outside of the points.
But he was probably going to have to pit anyway. Now that we're starting to see some of the dry runners come out, and he's on soft tyres.
Yeah.
But Compassion and Burkeye, they're struggling. They're struggling, Moraine. Burkeye and Compassion are really struggling.
Outside in the S section, I knew it was too early. And
yeah, it's way too early. They are absolutely struggling.
Lose time on the pit stops.
And that means Ice-T, yeah. Ice-T is going to struggle as well. When
he's right behind Matt, he goes down the inside.
And Niltix has gone up the inside of Burkeye into 6th place.
Really struggling.
But Stein has gone on the dry tyres, Jamil's on the dry tyres, so is Max. And also, Fletcher has just put on the dry tyres. The race leader is now on the dries. So, maybe the tyres are just struggling to warm them up in these conditions. It's a rather cooler looking day in Austin.
Yeah, the dry runners are really struggling still. Matt is on a net. He's in the podium places.
This is brilliant to see. go on, Matt. He's up to the... Oh, and Dekeke Chense on much fresher inters has gone up the inside, and that was short-lived. But Matt is up to 4th place. Brilliant stuff. As now Niltix up the inside of Compassion. Him and Burkeye are really struggling. But look, the race leader Fletcher has come out on the dry tyres. He's not exactly flying either.
Be overtaken. Probably it will be dry enough next lap to change.
Yeah, it's a bit... Well, there's no rain, but he's struggling to get the power down. You can see he's really losing grip. Sean Larry's gained 2 seconds. He's gained 2 seconds in that opening sector on Fletcher. He's going to pass him by the end of the lap. What it's going to come down to now is...
Alex is also right behind the soft runners. Burkeye, Compassion, and Niltix just going around the outside. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, it's a good move from Alex at the inside. Jamel's retired from the race. But sorry, what I was going to say, because Sean Larry's really catching, but what it's going to come down to, Moreno, you're absolutely right in this earlier, is Sean Larry's catching Fletcher, but there's a cut-off point for those dry tyres when they're going to start becoming the optimum tyre to use.
Yeah.
So Sean Larry's going to have to make a choice now. He's going to have to try and commit to this strategy on the inters. Hope the track doesn't dry out and try to pass the leader and stay out. Because once the track becomes bone dry, he's a sitting duck. Or will he pit? And he does. Oh no, he doesn't. No, sorry, he's tricked me there. He jinked to go in the pits. He stayed out. Right now.
And the dry runner is still losing time.
As AMC 33 has moved ahead of Sem, but yeah, you're right.
Goes past Compassion.
Oh, and Matt's gone for a move up the inside of the Gense. Is he going to make it stick? He does make it stick. They bounce off each other's tyres. Great move from Matt up into 3rd position. Great to see. Hopefully.
Yeah, you see Fletcher losing the lead.
Yeah, you can see, right, he's still struggling. So the opening sector, you just cannot get the power down. He's practically crawling around. This is incredible stuff. I mean, guys, if you're watching this...
Matt has pitted, and now Fletcher is gaining time. That means...
Oh, there we go. It's time. The dry tyres, yeah.
Matt has pitted at the perfect time. Will he do the undercut on Jens?
Oh, he must do on the dry tyres. That undercut is going to be absolutely immense for Matt. But of course, Compassion and Burkeye. But you can see Compassion and Burkeye now fighting for 5th and 6th. This is arguably perhaps a net 2nd place that these two are battling for right now. The dry tyres are now starting to come into their own. Larry's window has closed right into his face, and Fletcher is now starting to get away as Burkeye set a purple first sector. So you're right, Moraine, the dry tyres are now the optimum tyre. Ice-T has moved into 10th position. He's passed Sem. What a race he's had. It's not gone according to plan for the championship leader, and Sem has got a time penalty to add misery. And now the battle now as DRS has been enabled now as Burkeye's got the DRS. Fletcher has set the fastest lap of the race. He's pulled out 3 seconds on that lap, but Sean Larry has now gone into the pits. So that risk, that strategy call he made has not really paid off for him. Can he stay ahead of Compassion
really struggling.
and Burkeye? I think Sean Larry's going to be okay for 2nd though.
Yeah, he is. Jens and Ilfix will also pit.
Yeah, and Compassion and Burkeye, they're still a long way. They're just coming through the final part now. Sean Larry a long way ahead of them two. But the Keke Jesse, he's going to have to pit. No, does he stay out? He doesn't. He pits.
Will undercut Jens by a lot. Matt pitted at the perfect time.
He certainly did, and Burkeye sets the fastest lap of the race now, so wow. But what about Ice-T? Going back a few laps back, Moraine, Ice-T pitting on the inters and then coming on the dries a lap later. He should have stayed out. This could really cost him big time towards the end of the season. He does set the fastest lap of the race though, but it might be too little too late as he moves up into 9th position. But the battle now for the final podium position between Burkeye and Compassion as Burkeye goes very wide. Of course, that's not forgetting about penalties that they're going to play a part later on in this race. Might be worth having a look to see who's got penalties.
Burkeye also has a lot of penalties. Alright, I need to go to the toilet badly now, so...
Can you hold it for 5 minutes?
No, I can't.
Well, guys, when you need to go, you need to go. I think it's hopefully it doesn't do a Paula Radcliffe on us for those of you who know that inside reference. But of course, he'll be able to check the penalties when he comes back. In the meantime, Burkeye losing ground now to Compassion. So it looks like Compassion's got his groove back, but he's dropped down into 3rd position. Sean Larry executing that 2-stopper to perfection, but he's still 20 odd seconds behind race leader Fletcher, who has been in a race of his own today. Further up the order, the Keke Jensei and Niltix having a battle for 6th and 7th. The Keke Jensei up into 6th place, but Matt Yoda Speak, what a drive from him. Excellent stuff from him, up into 5th position. He's definitely got pace, and he's shown that in the final sector, and it's great to see him move up the order. Sets the fastest lap of the race as well. Brilliant stuff, and that's worth a bonus point as well for the Haas team. And of course, this championship battle in the Constructors' Championship is really starting to take shape. It was a 19-point difference between Racing Point and Ferrari at the start of this race. And we all better now?
Yeah, I've been holding it for the whole race.
I was just saying, when you gotta go, you gotta go. But yeah, I was just saying earlier, before we check the penalties, the Constructors' Championship battle now is really starting to get interesting because Ferrari right now, occupying 2nd and 4th, are on course to score, if my maths is right, 30 points, whereas Racing Point in 7th and 9th are only going to get, is it 6 points? No, it's 8 points. Something like that. Which means Ferrari will move into the lead of the Constructors' Championship with 2 races to go, and then Sean Larry has just got the fastest lap of the race. That's an extra point for Ferrari, as Ice-T's got a free. So Alex, what a recovery he's had, considering how poor and how unfortunate his start was.
Yeah, exactly.
He's now recovering brilliantly. It's a great effort from the Haas drivers. They finally... Gunther Steiner's finally got a set of drivers that can really know how to race without taking each other out. Maybe we should get these two in the Huss instead of K-Mag and Roman Grosjean, perhaps. I'm sure they wouldn't do it any worse.
Alex, come back at Miltix. Outside with DRS.
And he's made that move stick, and Niltix is still hanging it in there. Great move from Alex. I tell you what, the Huss drivers in particular today have pulled off some brilliant overtakes. It's been a pleasure watching them race. And Niltix tries to hang up, but he's going to go very wide into the S's. And Alex makes that move stick. As Matt has just got a time penalty for multiple warnings. Of course, penalties are going to play definitely a big part. And obviously in the chat right now, guys, our sponsors and title partners, Hot Lap Mode, are giving us a live championship standing at the moment. Ice-T, 127 points, cannot win the championship today as it stands. Fletcher will go up to 105. He is really closing that gap very, very quickly. We could be starting to see the momentum really shift, if it hasn't already, in the favour of Jay Fletcher. Ice-T, what is he going to be able to do? Will he be racing in the future? Will this be his last race for Vrl F2? We do not know. We'll find out. But this championship battle is really going to the wire now. We've just got 3 laps to go in the US Grand Prix, and what a race it has been. We've had crashes, we've had overtakes, we've had changes, we've had strategy changes, we've had risks, we've had change of minds, we've had everything, and we've still got 2 more races to go in this championship after this. Do not go anywhere. The next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely brilliant.
Sun starts to come out of it.
Well, as more American Texan puns as I've got in my arsenal, the sun has got his hat on, and it's a 10-gallon one today. And I'm sure those of you, I know it was a terrible pun, I admit, I apologise for that. But we press on. It's got to say, judging by the performance of a lot of these drivers, I'm just going to have a look at the position changes, just to show you guys who's really made. As you can see, AMC 33 starting from the back has made up 10 positions today. Matt's made up 3. Strange enough, believe it or not, Moraine, Alex started 7th and he's currently 7th right now. So after a very topsy-turvy race, although he's battling with Niltix right now, as just to say, and Niltix has gone around the outside in the DRS and moves up into 7th position now. Great effort from him. So Racing Point not quite giving it up yet, but at the risk of being a bit too premature on this one, Moraine, who has been your driver of the day? Who has impressed you the most in this race?
Yeah, I think Fletcher, of course. But yeah, let's look at the rest. I mean, you can't not give it to Fletcher, but probably Matt, just because it's Matt. I mean, everyone loves Matt. And also, yeah, AMC did a good job. Especially in the opening laps, he gained a lot of places on the opening lap. I think like 7.
He's gone for a move up the inside of Niltix, so that battle gone up again, and he's up into 7th. And I think, and he's just not been able to hold it out. Oh, he's let him pass, yeah. He looked like he'd slowed down a bit. Very fair race in there from Alex. Probably a lot more courteous than other drivers would have done with a move like that. Nothing with getting your shoulders out, but of course, good sportsmanship. It's not long to go now, guys. To find out, let us know in the chat. Yeah, plenty there, but I mean, what a drive it's been from Fletcher from the very start. Of course, it did look a little bit in doubt for a moment with the strategy change, but he made the call at roughly the right time. Has not really been under threat.
Again.
As now Alex goes up and move for the inside again. Ice-T watching this battle. Could he perhaps nick a few places that he's desperately going to need in this championship battle right now? He needs the points. What will Niltix do? Will he play happy teammates for his teammate and let him through before the end of this race if he cannot make the move on Alex's stick? Of course,
there are lots of penalties. We're not quite sure the results. It could be shaken up completely.
Well, absolutely. Do stay tuned, because of course the final confirmed order will still be review, although I can't think of too many incidents where the stewards are going to have to be massively involved with. Of course, our designated penalty taker, Juan Pole, retired earliest from the race. Had a record. I've never seen a driver get 7 penalties in a race.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But nevertheless, we'll go from there as Fletcher now starts to come through the end. It's been a dominant display once again from Jay Fletcher.
The lap cars have crashed.
We'll have to come back to that later. But Fletcher rounds the final corner, and in the Circuit de Americas, it's Jay Fletcher once again winning the VRL F2 US Grand Prix. Dominance.
He nearly lost it in the final corner.
Well, he was sort of showboating a little bit there, and it almost blew up in his face, but I mean, that would have been interesting. As now Sean Larry comes across the line, keeping his championship chances alive in the process. 2nd overall. Good effort from him. And now Compassion coming through. Great effort from him. Struggled in the wet conditions compared to his compatriots. The strategy really caught him out like Burkeye. But he is about to come across to once again get himself on the podium. Once again, so another great drive from him. Could be a future challenger in VRL F2 in the future. And he comes across the line. 3rd fastest Burkeye.
Now the penalty game has started.
Yeah, well, Burkeye just about missed out. But he's 4th overall. And Matt, what a drive from Matt. Great effort from him. I tip my hat to you, sir. Great effort from the VRL F1 Season 2 champion. The KK Jensei.
He's really close.
And there's Ice-T almost losing around the back. But Ice-T moves up into 8th position.
Drops 2 positions due to penalties.
So Alex's penalty. So Niltix did not let his teammate overtake him. As Papine comes across the line to complete the points. And he can now... So Papine can now no longer win this championship. It was very unlikely to begin with, but he is now out of the race for the championship. I also believe Burkeye is also possibly out of the race for this championship as well. I'll have to get my calculator out to check on that one. Actually, I might be wrong actually. He might still just be about in it. I'll have to check. But we'll not worry about that now. It's your race winner for the VRL F2 US Grand Prix is Jay Fletcher, the first triple race winner in VRL F2 this season. His superb form continues to grow from strength to strength. Are we looking, Moraine, at the first VRL F2 champion?
Yeah. Finally. Yeah, that is a big opportunity.
And what a race that has been. So that we'll run through the provisional classified order. First across the line was Jay Fletcher, his 2nd win in a row, 3rd of the season. Brilliant drive from him, dominant from start to finish. Sean Larry, excellent job from him in the Ferrari, started 5th, got himself up into 2nd place. Played the strategy perfectly. Compassion, continuing his great form, was not able to convert that pole position into a win. Finishes on the podium nonetheless. Burkeye, another great point for Ferrari. I believe Ferrari now may have moved into the lead in the Constructors' Championship, but we'll have to check that. 4th for him. Matt, Yoda Speak, best performance in VRL F2, 5th position for him. The KK Jensei on his debut for Renault, covering for Magic Alonso, coming in 6th. Niltix and Ice-T 7th and 8th respectively. The championship continues on into the final 2 races. And Alex 9th position, and Papine completing the top 10 in the Renault. As now we're going to go to our final part of this broadcast with the interviews with the drivers. So I'm just about to have these drivers invited to my session, as Moraine has very kindly invited them to. Sorry, just bear with me, guys. Did it show the recommendations? I'm just trying to have a look on there. Ah, here we go. So I do apologise. Okay. It was. I mean, what was your take on that race, Moraine?
Yeah, the start was absolutely amazing with those 4 cars all going side by side into turn 1. The guys from the front row seemed to have a worse start than the guys from the second row, so that made it very interesting.
I mean, the initial getaway from Ice-T was very good, but then the second phase of that start where he really lost the traction, and maybe it was owing to the fact that he runs without traction control that really let him down, because Fletcher got an absolute brilliant launch off from third position. And speaking of the devil, he joins us right now. So once again, we have our Vrl F2 US Grand Prix winner, the third F2 race win this season for Mr. Jay Fletcher. Fletch, congratulations on another brilliant performance. What was your take on the race? How do you feel?
Wet weather really helped. I managed to get a big lead pretty early on, and well, I really didn't have to do anything else after that. I just had to drive in the rain well, which I did.
Well, you seem to enjoy the wet conditions a lot, and of course there was that phase in the race later on that the dry tyres started to come in. For you, did you feel that you executed that strategy perfectly, or did you feel perhaps you might have put the dry tyres a lap or two too early? Because it was very close between you and Sean Larry before eventually the tyres went in your favour again and you were able to get away.
Yeah, transition point was worrying because I was puncture territory with the inters. So I just coasted for like 3 laps, and then once I saw a dry line, I came in immediately because I was on like 94% tyre wear. So I pitted. It took about 3 laps, but I knew I had a big enough gap to cover Sean Larry off because the tyres were going to come in either way.
No, absolutely, and to be honest, in retrospect, that you probably did execute that perfectly. I mean, normally drivers tend to wait for the DRS enabled notification to come up, but clearly that didn't happen for you until at the point where you started to get away. So I was going to talk about the start as well. What a start, of course. You literally looked like you launched like a rocket off the line. What was it like for you? Did you get much wheel spin off the line?
That start, no, I got no wheel spin at all, none.
It was very reminiscent of the Mika Hakkinen famous starts that he used to do, where you just launched that McLaren, and you did very much the same thing.
Yeah. It went, like, I had such a great start, and 0 wheel spin, and it was great, honestly. Because I knew I had to get past Ice-T, at least going into turn 1, but I did it before. And I know he hated the wet conditions, and I knew he was on a dry setup. So yeah, you finished like 8th, which is like amazing, especially gaining like 23 points on him, which is amazing.
Yeah, according to our partners Hot Lap Mode Official, and I was going to get to this, they've given us a live championship order. Now right now, Fletch, you are 24 points behind Ice-T, according to them. Of course, it's provisional classification. Stewards have got to do their review, so things might change, but as it stands right now, you are now within 1 race victory of taking the lead of the championship. Surely now, I know you've been very confident before of overhauling this lead, but surely now you're starting to make a believer of the rest of us, is considering the rich vein of form you're in. Do you feel that you're the favourite now for the title, or is Ice-T still very much in control?
I think it shows with Ice-T's drive in the last 2 races that he's a bit rattled by the chance of losing the championship. So all I'm going to do is keep doing what I do off the track to play these games, tell him he's not going to do it, and things like this, because these are going to win me the title, and I think he's shown today that he is rattled, and finishing P8, I mean, from P2, I mean, I think he says enough, and P5 last time at Japan. He would have got P5 no matter what at Japan, by the way, because he had penalties.
Very, very strong words indeed, and I love the confidence, and well, let's see. I mean, again, absolutely brilliant drive, Fletch, great result, and of course wish you all the best for the rest of the season, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this pans out. Congratulations, Vrl F2 US Grand Prix winner Jay Fletcher.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Great. So now moving on to our runner-up, Sean Larry. So Sean Larry, excellent drive, looked like you played that strategy to perfection in terms of the moment the tyres switched over from wet to dry. How was the race for you?
Yeah, it was congrats to Fletcher, first of all. He did an amazing job all race. Yeah, the race for me was difficult at the start because I was running a wet setup and the wings were a bit too aggressive, so that meant that in the straight line I was really struggling to keep up. but in the corners I was catching up massively, and I had so much more grip than everyone else. But if you have no straight line speed, it's really going to be hard to get past the other drivers. So yeah, I got stuck behind my good friend Juan Paul and my teammate Burke, and that will really stop me from going for the win if I had any chance. I don't know, I didn't see my pace against Fletcher, but yeah, that really scuppered my chance. And yeah, when I got past them, it was really about closing the gap to Compassion. I was noting that I was closing in quite quickly, so yeah, just head down and push. And luckily with the setup, the car felt really beautiful. We were really in perfect harmony, a bit cheesy, but yeah, there was really no sliding or anything like that. So it's really easy for me to push, and when the car's like that, it's really easy for me to get results like this, and just so much confidence on the brakes when overtaking as well. Made some moves I didn't even know I could make. And yeah, going into this race, I was not sure of the result in qualifying. So before the race, I was feeling really sick. Still, I'm a bit better now after that result. But yeah, in qualifying, after I saw that lap time, it was appalling, because there's nowhere near what I can do around here. This is one of my favorite tracks, and I couldn't even match it. So that was really demoralizing. But I just had to keep my head down. I'm always better in a racing quali, and yeah, not used to this Ferrari. In my other league, I drive a Mercedes, so yeah, just getting used to the car a bit. Some people say it's different or the same, but I think it's a bit different, the handling between cars. So yeah, get used to that during the race, and yeah, just execute the perfect strategy. I knew the inters would blow up. I've had it, been in a situation in previous leagues where the inters, they tend to, you get slow lap times and you get in punchy territory. So I thought after I got past Compassion, just pit in, and yeah, that's what I did. And then I caught back up and overtook him again, so that was really nice. And then it was about getting Fletcher, and then I saw 30 seconds was the gap, and I was like, oh, lovely. So basically after that, it was just a bit of quali laps to try and get the fastest lap, and that was my race basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did get the fastest lap actually. I mean, it was a great drive. Obviously, recovering from 5th place, you obviously had that battle early on between your teammate and Juan Pole, who got 7 penalties before he retired. I'm pretty sure you probably would notice in him taking a different route to some of the others through the S's. So in terms of the championship, it's still possible for you to clinch the title. However, it's now, if my maths is right, the live table, I believe you're about 48 points behind Ice-T. So quite a way away with 2 races to go. However, you will be happy to know, I believe the Constructors' Championship now, Ferrari may have moved into the lead of the Constructors' Championship after yours and Burkai's great performance today. So surely, does the attention for yourself and your teammate turn towards that Constructors' Championship rather than worrying about the driver's title?
Yeah, for sure. I really had no idea about the Constructors. In terms of any points, I really don't know. Coming into this league pretty late, all I look is at the track, and that's all I know. I don't even know where we're going to next. I don't know where the points tables are, so yeah. So yeah, the Constructors, that's great news. My teammate's clearly doing a great job before I got here as well, just racking up the points. So yeah, let's continue. I know I can definitely score some good points. I don't know where next, but we've had all the rubbish tracks on my side. And yeah, I think it's really up to me to help out Ice-T. I think I own one after Japan. I know we would have finished. Yeah, no. I know you would have finished P5 anyway, but you never want to hit someone like that. And yeah, he was really nice afterwards. He's like, it's racing, man, it happened. But yeah, really want to see what I can do. I don't know, maybe go on hard tires, do a long stint, and hold up Fletcher. So we'll see.
Wow.
We'll see.
I'll dive.
Well, no, I mean, it was a brilliant drive, Sean Larry, and excellent performance once again, the Ferrari. And yeah, good luck for the rest of the season. Of course, Ferrari now lead the Constructors' Championship provisionally. Of course, the stewards will have to check, but I'm pretty sure you're now ahead of them by a few points. So best of luck for the rest of the season on that, and another brilliant result once again. So yeah, now last and certainly not least, and I want to start with an apology to our third place finisher, because in the last race they finished on the podium. I was unable to get hold of them for the interview and completely missed them out. So Compassion, I do apologise, but you're on the podium once again. Congratulations. What was your assessment of your performance today?
I struggled a lot. It's just I'm not happy with the result, you know. Could have been P2. I thought, yeah, you know, Jay was flying away. GG to him. He was really strong today, so he deserved it. Well, you know, what could I say? I do not have pace on the inters, on the wet, and yeah, I don't know. I don't have experience on the wet, so maybe I should train on that. Also, GG to Sean Lowry, but I think it was more the controller who helped him out, because I was faster in the traction zones. I was pulling away from him, but the braking, you know, Toro was really good on the braking, so yeah, he was faster.
No, yeah, no, so fair point. I mean, towards the part of the race where the transition between wet to dry, I noticed you and Burkheim particularly, you pitted a little bit earlier to put on those dry tyres, and it did take a couple of laps when you were falling down the order. Did you feel that that was the right time to put the dry tyres on, or were the wet tyres just completely gone? Did you have no choice?
Same as Jay. I thought, you know, they're gonna be going to puncture, so I needed to pit. So I thought maybe go for the softs for gamble, but it didn't pay off.
Okay, no, fair enough. So obviously you've been with us now for a couple of races, 2 podium finishes, so you know, great effort from yourself, definitely showing a lot of pace. How have you been finding your experience of Vrl F2? Are you enjoying it? Are you impressed with the competition so far?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, because top 3 is really close. You know, Jay is fast, I'm fast, IST fast. We were like, what was it, 5/10s?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Extremely close. It was like 500ths of a second in qualifying.
Qualifying was very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. GG to you, Jay.
Corn, what setup did you use for qualifying? Was it a dry or a wet setup?
I'm dry setup.
Oh, I was on a wet setup.
Oh well, all things considered.
Raining.
All things considered, Compassion, considering you were running a dry setup, that's a very impressive drive in the wet nonetheless. But that aside, obviously with that pace, I believe perhaps you may be a contender next season in Vrl F2, obviously if you join us for that championship. So all that's left to say is best of luck to the rest of the season, and congratulations once again on another podium.
Yeah, thank you. I will push further.
Great to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you get on. So
yeah, well in, Corner.
So yeah, that is the end of the Vrl F2 US Grand Prix. I hope you've enjoyed that. We've only got a week break before our next race in Brazil, our penultimate race for the season, and now the championship is starting to take real shape. Will it be Ice-T, or will it be Jay Fletcher, or perhaps out of nowhere, perhaps? Well, Fletcher, we know who Fletcher wants to win. And also the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari have now taken a march ahead of the field. Can Racing Point recover? We'll have to find out this time next week on the Hot Lap Mode VRL PS4 YouTube channel. I've been Adam Burns, my co-commentator. Thank you once again, Moraine, for setting this all up despite the technical difficulties. And we'll see you in the next race this time next week. And of course, don't forget, tune in. We've got the VRL F1 race tomorrow, 2:30 PM UK time, 3:30 PM European time on the Hot Lap Mode VRL PS4 channel. Please like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next race. Take care.